Video 6, Lecture 3. And here comes kind of a punchline of something I would imagine would be unexpected, and that is the importance of cross-cultural comparisons and a historical insight into observing the present-day rituals. So we're here in Santiago, Yuxtlahuaca, and let's say why. Let's just go into the roots of Santiago. Who is Santiago, and where else do people celebrate Santiago on the 25th of July? Well, it happens to be that it's actually a very important festival in Europe, where people from all over Europe walk in the known Caminos de Santiago, the Chemins de Saint-Jacques, or Jacobus-Web. People from all over the Christian kingdom traveled since the 9th century to Santiago de Compostela. Who was Saint James? Why do they go to Santiago de Compostela? Why is this pilgrimage so important to so many people? Well, we have to know a little bit about the story of Saint James and his relationship with Jesus. Santiago de Compostela is most likely the most fun pilgrimage site that people from all over the world go and partake in. Okay? Saint James, as we know, was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus, one of the fishermen that convert and start following Jesus. We also know that Saint James, according to the scriptures, travels to Iberian Peninsula and spread Christianism and comes back to Jerusalem to keep preaching, and there King Harold cuts his head in the year 44, becoming the first martyr. The story goes that he's carried and taken to the Iberian Peninsula where he's buried, and he becomes Santiago the Apostle, particularly bringing inspiration and divine intervention through the times of war. The war with whom? Well, with Islam. We've already reviewed the expansion of Islam and how the Visigoths were taken from their homeland, and in that fighting, in those thousands of years of fighting, this cry of Santiago came to resemble the cry of war. Santo Jacobo, Santiago, Diego, Jacques. Many names in many pronunciations, different languages. Santiago de Compostela, and the fighting that took place to maintain that resistance against the Islamic warlords maintained these people together, and for that reason Santiago de Compostela in present-day Galicia, Spain, is a pilgrimage site since the 9th century. People have claimed to have found the remains of Saint James and of miraculously his powers, and therefore I invite you to watch these videos and learn a little bit more about this beautiful pilgrimage celebration of Saint James. And it becomes relevant because that's what makes explanations of why people are using devil masks to celebrate Santiago. It might not make sense, but if we go back to the example that I just gave you about the encomenderos having to Christianize people and having to leverage their power to maintain the favor of the people's lands where you are living, then think about the priest explaining to the peoples that they cannot do their traditions anymore, but that they are welcome to use Christian symbols to embody their ritual behavior. This negotiation takes place. The people that convert to Christianity, they listen to the Testament many times because the preachers have learned the languages of the region and they read the Bible to these people. The people, they take whatever they thought they understood from the Bible and then they recreate these presentations. Now, we were not there. This is research that still could be looked into, and to see the moment of why do people of Santiago decide to put the devil masks on? Well, because after the Moors and the Christians fight, what happens? The Christians celebrate, right? So the Christian celebration. But where would the devils come in? Well, the thing is that there's a very important tradition, as we may be reviewing. There is a dance called the Dance of the Moors and the Christians. This is a very famous dance, actually displayed in many parts of Mexico, but in this dance, in the case of Oaxaca, they come to help us understand why people begin using the devil mask. Meaning, in this ritualized performance of the victory of the Christians over the Moors, something has to happen in theological explanations to the souls of the infidels. As the barrels take place. People die, and it's in the battles of the Crusades, the retaking of the conquest, that people had witnessed St. James coming to the field and defeating them, defeating the Moors. Likewise, it was thought that when the infidels died, demons from the underworld would come and take the souls of the infidels away. Therefore, that is why, after the dance of the Moors and the Christians, for the celebrations of the Christians, after that dance is finished, then comes the dance of the devils, because the devils come happily to take all the souls of the Moors. Therefore, what we're seeing in the dance of the devils of these peoples from Santiago, Yuxtlahuaca, and this district in Oaxaca is a celebration of the defeat of Islam in the Iberian Peninsula. Now, if we were to ask any of the persons that are performing these dances, if they see what they do as the way that we're trying to explain it here, obviously they haven't said it. We already saw a documentary. I sent you the link. They do not report this worldview that we are analyzing here in this class as the anthropological study on religious belief systems. And here what I'm trying to do is give you a perfect example of how the holistic approach of anthropology can help us find answers even when people don't report that, the answer that we seek. Okay? Therefore, how is it that these devils are so important today? Well, I've been in California since 1993. This did not come into kind of the scene, and I've been working also in documenting in the fields, been around the fields since in the 90s, never saw this or heard about this. This became a phenomenon after the year 2005. By 2008, these groups were consolidated. By 2012, they've drawn much attention and parties. Today, you can go on YouTube and you will see hundreds of videos of people celebrating their culture and putting their own videos on YouTube. Therefore, what we're seeing in the devil dance is not only a dance of resistance, but it's a dance where we see cultural syncretism, a syncretism that takes place back into ancient times of the Crusades. We see effects of transnationalism, meaning cultures that go back and forward among different nations, right? We see a story of resistance within a story of migrations, and more interestingly, you might learn that Oaxaca, California is a concept that has come directly from the migrants of Oaxaca that have been coming back and forward, particularly since the Bracero program back in the 60s. Okay, and they are an elemental part of the agricultural labor force here in California, and they have many important organizations working on immigration, on human rights, on labor rights, and so on. And if you're more interested, you can Google the Coalición de Comunidades Indígenas de Oaxaca, and you could also be aware, because they have every year the famous celebration known as La Guelaguetza. I invite you to just Google La Guelaguetza in California, and you will see that is one of the most important multicultural celebrations of the state of Oaxaca here in Oaxaca, California. I have added some other links to some other videos that you might find in your interest in this regard, and some news sources. And for our next lecture series, we're going to try to see what's going on with these guys. These guys are people from Guerrero, and these are also Catholic Christians celebrating some interesting phenomena. So we're going to inquire into this next. And for your homework assignment, the idea is that I want to know, for an essay question, I want to know what you're going to respond to a person that tells you that they saw a video of Mexicans worshiping the devil. Now, I know you have already written trying to figure out what was, right? But now I want you to think of the main themes of the article, All God's New Guises, and I want you to demonstrate to me that you understand that they are actually not worshipping the devil, but something yet more complex is going on. In fact, a little world history class wouldn't be too much to ask, okay? So, thank you very much for your attention. This is the end of the lecture 3 on Oaxaca, California.